Have you ever studied English for years, but when someone suddenly asks you a simple question, your mind goes completely blank? Your heart beats fast, your hands feel cold, and the only thing you can say is, yes, myself. That happened to me during my very first English job interview, and honestly, it was a disaster. I prepared for 7 days. I memorized answers. I practiced grammar. I watched interview videos all night. But the moment the interviewer smiled and said, "Tell me about yourself," everything disappeared. In today's video, I'm going to show you the 3 most common interview mistakes English learners make, and the simple answers that helped me finally speak with confidence. We'll also practice real interview shadowing together, so you can train your speaking naturally, not like a robot. And if you always feel nervous speaking English in real life, this video may change the way you practice forever. Because my first interview was a failure, but it also became the reason my English finally started improving. After my first terrible interview, I realized something important. Most English job interviews are not random. In fact, there are a few questions that almost every interviewer will ask. And if you prepare for these situations the right way, you will feel much calmer and more confident. Today, I want to share the 3 most common interview situations that many English learners struggle with. These are the moments where people suddenly forget everything. Their hands shake, their voice becomes weak, and their brain goes blank. I know this feeling because it happened to me too. The 3 situations are: first, introducing yourself; second, talking about your weakness; and third, answering the scary question: why should we choose you? Let me show you exactly what happened in my interview and how you can answer these questions naturally in English.
Situation 1. Tell me about yourself. The first question in my interview sounded very simple. Tell me about yourself. But honestly, this was the question that destroyed my confidence. The moment I heard it, my mind became empty. I thought I needed to say everything about my life. So I started talking too much. I talked about my hometown, my university, my hobbies, my childhood, even the part-time jobs I hated. I spoke for almost 3 minutes. And the worst part? My answer had no structure. The interviewer looked confused, and I could feel myself becoming more nervous every second. Later, I learned something very important. A strong self-introduction usually has 3 simple parts. First, who you are. Second, what experience you have. Third, what skills you can bring. When you follow this structure, your answer sounds clear, natural, and professional. Let me show you. 1. Who you are. This part is short. You introduce your current situation or background. For example, I recently graduated from college. Or, I'm currently working in customer service. Or, I'm a marketing assistant with experience in social media. Simple, clear, natural. 2. What experience you have. Now you talk briefly about your experience. For example, I have 2 years of experience working with customers in retail stores. Or, I worked part-time as an English tutor while studying at university. Or, I have experience managing social media accounts for small businesses. Notice something important. You do not need a big job title. Even small experiences are valuable. 3. What skills you can bring. Finally, talk about your strengths and how you can help the company. For example, I'm particularly skilled at communication and solving customer problems. Or, I'm a fast learner, and I enjoy working in teams. Or, I'm organized, responsible, and comfortable working under pressure. Now let's put all three parts together naturally. Listen carefully. Example 1. I recently graduated from college. And I have 1 year of experience working in customer service. I'm particularly skilled at communicating with customers and solving problems calmly. Can you hear the structure? Who you are. I recently graduated from college. Your experience. I have 1 year of experience working in customer service. Your skills. I'm particularly skilled at communicating with customers and solving problems calmly. Very simple. But very professional. Here is another example. Example 2. I'm currently working as a sales assistant. And I have experience helping customers choose products and answering questions. I'm friendly, patient, and good at building customer relationships. Again, the structure is very clear. Who you are. I'm currently working as a sales assistant. Experience. I have experience helping customers choose products and answering questions. Skills. I'm friendly, patient, and good at building customer relationships. Now let's look at one more example for beginners. Example 3. My name is Anna, and I recently graduated from university. During school, I worked part-time at a coffee shop where I learned how to communicate with customers and work in a busy environment. I'm hardworking, positive, and always willing to learn new things. This answer sounds warm and human. Not robotic. Not memorized. And that is important. Because interviewers do not want a perfect robot. They want a real person who can communicate clearly and confidently. So remember this simple formula. Who you are. What experience you have. And what skills you can bring. If you practice this structure again and again through shadowing, your answer will start feeling natural. Not forced. Not scary. Just natural conversation. Situation 2. What is your biggest weakness? Then came the next dangerous question. What is your biggest weakness? Oh no. I was completely unprepared. I remembered old advice from the internet. So I said, I don't have any weaknesses. The room suddenly became very quiet. The interviewer smiled politely again. But inside, I knew my answer sounded fake. Later, I understood something important. Interviewers are not searching for perfect people. They are searching for honest people who want to improve. That is why a better answer has 2 parts. First, admit a real weakness. Second, explain how you are improving it. For example, I sometimes struggle with public speaking. But I've been improving it by practicing presentations every week. This answer sounds honest and mature. Here is another example. I sometimes feel nervous when speaking English. But I've been improving it by practicing shadowing every day. Can you hear the difference? This answer feels real. It shows effort. It shows growth. And growth is powerful. Situation 3. Why should we choose you? Finally, the interviewer asked the hardest question. Why should we choose you? At that moment, my heart started beating faster again. I looked at the table. I forgot all my prepared answers. And then I said something terrible. Because I need this job very much. The interviewer was kind. But I knew that answer was weak. Now I understand what interviewers really want to hear. They want to know how you can help the company. Not only why you need the job. A stronger answer sounds like this. I believe my background in customer service makes me a great fit for this role because I enjoy helping people and solving problems. Or, I believe my communication skills and positive attitude would help me contribute to your team. Simple. Professional. Natural. That is enough. You do not need perfect English. You only need clear communication and honest confidence. When the interview finally ended, I walked out of the building feeling embarrassed. I thought I had failed completely. But later, I realized something surprising. That disaster interview became one of my greatest teachers. Because it showed me exactly what I needed to improve. Not perfect grammar. Not difficult vocabulary. But confidence, clarity, and real speaking practice. A few months after that terrible interview, I had another chance. Another company invited me. This time, I prepared differently. I did not memorize long answers. I practiced short and natural sentences. I practiced shadowing while walking. While cooking. Even while cleaning my room. At first, I still made mistakes. Sometimes I forgot words. Sometimes my pronunciation sounded strange. But I kept going. Because I finally understood something important. English is not a test. It is communication. And communication does not need perfection. On the day of my second interview, I was still nervous. But this time, I could breathe. I could smile. And when the interviewer asked, "Tell me about yourself," I answered calmly. Not perfectly. But naturally. And you know what? I got the job. I remember walking outside after the interview. The sun felt brighter. The air felt lighter. I smiled the whole way home. Not because my English was perfect. But because I finally believed in myself. Maybe right now, you are afraid too. Maybe you are scared to speak English at work. Maybe you worry people will laugh at your accent. Maybe you feel embarrassed when you make mistakes. I understand that feeling deeply. But please remember this. Every confident English speaker you admire today was once nervous too. Every fluent speaker once made simple mistakes. Every strong speaker once felt weak. Growth takes time. And mistakes are part of the journey. That first interview was a disaster. But honestly, it became one of the most important experiences of my life. Because failure pushed me to improve. Failure taught me how to practice smarter. And failure showed me that confidence is built slowly. One small step at a time. So please, do not quit because of one embarrassing moment. Do not stay silent because you are afraid. Speak anyway. Practice anyway. Try again anyway. Your future self will thank you for it. And one day, maybe you will tell your own story and laugh about your first terrible interview too. Before we finish, I want you to remember these words. You do not need to be perfect. You only need to keep going. If this story helped you feel more confident, write "ready" in the comments and promise yourself that you will practice this shadowing conversation every day for the next week. Your English can change. Your confidence can grow. And your next interview can become a success story. Thank you for listening. And I'll see you in the next lesson.